With a 6-2 vote on Wednesday, the San Diego City Council approved its reform before revenue measure for the November ballot. This vote followed a whirlwind of activity at City Hall over the last 2 weeks. Here to explain the core elements of the ballot measure is KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr. So what are these key elements of reform before revenue?
Well, the measure that voters will see in November is a proposed half-cent sales tax increase that would last for 5 years. But the tax could not be implemented until the city completes a list of 10 fiscal reforms meant to get it on more solid footing financially. And the city auditor is the one who will decide when those reforms have been met.
Okay, so that's the whole idea. First you reform.
Right.
Approve the reforms, and then you can kick in a tax.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So what prompted the City Council to put this before the voters in November?
Well, the city's financial situation. It's facing a $72 million budget deficit next year. It's already made some cuts, and they just say they have no money. They have no revenue. They need to do something. They need to make long-term changes, but supporters say they also need a quick infusion of cash to help the city sort of get over the hurdle.
And the cash would be supplied by the half-cent sales tax that we would pay on sale and user tax.
Yeah, it would be half cent on the dollar, and it's estimated that it would generate more than $100 million a year for the city.
All right, you said, I mean, we had a 6-2 vote. So there were supporters, but then there was opposition. You were at the council meetings. Who were some of the groups that spoke against the idea?
Well, there are a lot of business interests that came out and spoke against the sales tax. They said, listen, we're in a recession. You know, we don't need another hurdle for people coming in and spending money. And, you know, of course, there's concern that if there's a higher sales tax in San Diego, people will go to a neighboring city without that high sales tax and spend their money there.
Well, Councilman Carl DeMaio was one of the 2 no votes on the City Council against the ballot measure. He says that stronger reforms are needed and that this proposal will create more of the same problems that San Diego has been facing over the last few years.
This ballot measure does not give San Diegans the city government that they desire and deserve. This ballot measure, in essence, continues the failed policies of the past, of saying one thing and doing another, of watering down reforms, and mostly the pattern for the past 8 years, unmistakably, has been to offer taxpayers less in terms of services, but ask them to pay more in terms of taxes and fees. This isn't a departure from the bad behavior of the past. This ballot measure is a continuation of the bad financial practices.
Okay, but Councilmember Tony Young, who voted in favor of the measure, acknowledged that this ballot measure will not fix all of the city's financial problems, but he thinks it is a step in the right direction.
This ballot measure will not solve the city's issues completely. There's no question about that. The mayor and I and the council talked about a structural deficit that we have planned to eliminate by 2012. And that structural deficit that will be ongoing for the next 5 years is $70 million or more ongoing every year for the next 5 years. This will address the structural deficit if it does pass. And I think that it's important for the public to realize that there are other revenue generating options that we have, and also efficiency options that we should pursue, and reform measures that we should pursue to address this issue comprehensively in addition to the ballot measure.
Councilman Tony Young doesn't sound to me convinced that the reform before revenue is the whole answer. What more might be done?
Well, he was really interested in getting numbers to go along with this reform. He wants, like the IBA's office to come out and say, if you approve this ballot measure, and if, say, we start implementing managed competition, the city will save this much money. He wants numbers to bring to the voters so that they are more convinced that this might be a good thing to do.
And I bet there are a lot of people who feel the same way. IBA is the independent budget analyst, right? Mm-hmm. And what about Councilman DeMaio? What does he want to do to fix the budget, since he doesn't like this idea at all?
Well, he and Councilman Kevin Faulkner came out with their own list of reforms. And Carl DeMaio points out that the city's pension payment, according to its pension system, is just anticipated to keep growing. Fiscal year 2012, it's estimated to be about $255 million. And he says that if we pass this tax increase, it's all going to get sucked into paying for the pension.
All right, well, that's going to be an interesting part of the debate as this campaign takes over. What are the options for the mayor and the council if, let's say, the voters don't approve the whole idea of a city tax increase?
Well, the city could pursue these reforms on their own without the tax increase, but the mayor was pointing out having these reforms and having this tax increase partnered together creates this sort of coalition between labor unions who want the tax increase because they don't want to have any more cuts to deal with, and businesses who'd like to see the city reform the way it does things financially. So he's worried that without the revenue, that coalition would crumble and we'd be right back where we were before, so which would not be a good situation.
Now, the mayor and other supporters of the measure say it will help restore cuts made to fire and police services. Why can't this tax be specifically dedicated just to public safety?
If they had wanted to dedicate the tax specifically to one cause, say public safety, that requires a 2/3 majority of the voters, and that's something that they say just is not possible. So they went for the simple majority, which means the money goes into the general fund. So some of it, yes, can go to restore services, but they cannot earmark the money for those services specifically.
Well, thank you very much, Katie Orr.
Thank you.